Welcome back to Out of This World. I'm Jamie Hanshaw, and I got Melissa DeCourcy back with us. We had such a good conversation last time that I thought we could do an addendum to our masculine marriage material show. And tonight we are going to be talking about red flags. Do not pass go, ghost this person, do not date them, do not marry them. We have a whole list, and I have some visual aids. I have some roasting people to do, and yeah, we're gonna have fun. Last time we got some interesting comments, and that's why I kind of wanted to have a follow-up because you guys have so much to say about dating and what you think we should be doing, and it just blows my mind. Like, well, whenever people disagree with me anyway, it blows my mind. But like, um, I'm here like urging you to treat people better. And they want to argue with me. They want to argue down and say, no, people don't deserve that treatment. Or, I'm just like saying, you could be nicer. And people are like, no, they won't do it. It's so weird. What do you think?
I totally agree. I totally agree. In my video that I have about being a single Orthodox convert, I've had the craziest comments. And the intention of that video was just to tell secular women that it's possible and we can do it and come on into the church with whatever your problems are, however you look, you're welcome here, you're home. And people get mad at that. So there's something to say. So I agree with you. It is very strange. It's very weird.
Yeah, it's like if you disagree with what I'm saying, you need to get a grip, honestly. Like, you need to go touch some grass and get out of the internet, take your shoes off, put your feet in the dirt, and like back to reality because I'm not saying anything super salacious or like spicy. It's very middle of the road. Let's be kind and treat each other how we would like to be treated. So let's get into it so all of the commenters can have a field day with how wrong we are about everything. So,
Can't wait. I can't wait.
so I have a whole list of red flags, and I did have it in column of like men and women,
Hmm.
but these can go either way. Some are specific, some are not. So let's start. Let's start with women.
Okay.
Everyone says we don't take responsibility for our actions. So let's start by identifying how can women be dangerous to date? What do you got?
Okay. So this is some that I came up with myself, but a lot of it is from my friends that I have asked. So I will just start.
Okay.
For women, if she can't apologize, so no accountability, she doesn't have any humility, she cannot admit guilt when she does wrong.
Okay. I had that one also on the either or scale because that is
Mm,
so important. Person who goes around nothing is ever their fault is so dangerous. Like prison
very.
full of people who say I didn't do nothing, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
anybody you go and ask on, that's a lifer or a serious inmate, they're gonna tell you a whole list of reasons why they don't deserve to be there,
Hmm.
right? So that is such an important one. They do not take accountability. They never apologize. This is a narcissistic trait also.
Yes.
And it's so funny because in dating nowadays, you have to like suss out, is this person a narcissist? Um, are they autistic? Or are they just like your typical uncaring person? And there's so many blurred lines and fine like nuances in those three like personalities that is really you have to sharpen your vetting process and your psychology almost to get past people who will, you know, damage your life,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah. They could also be somebody who's really, really insecure
Mm-hmm.
and trying to, like, they are so unwilling to look at themselves because they fear the mountain of insecurities they have right under the surface. So they've created a persona
Mhm.
that like can't ever be questioned, because that person can't be questioned because that like outside persona doesn't really exist,
Mhm.
because under the surface they're just super insecure, they don't know who they are, and that's definitely a red flag. You don't want to be with somebody who doesn't know who they are, that can't question themselves, you
Yes.
know.
And so a companion to that one, nothing is ever their fault. They don't say they're sorry, is they blame their exes for all of their past
Mm,
breakups.
uh-huh.
If you're dating someone and they say, my ex is crazy, that is
Yes,
a huge red flag.
I had that one as well.
Okay.
Yes.
If
They're crazy, they're a jerk, they were insane, they did this to me, they did that to me, and they kind of like harp on it a lot
yeah,
and use that. Yes. Yep.
because it's like, what is the common denominator? If all of your exes are crazy, there must be something that you're doing
Why are
that's
you in the relationship
driving
with a
them to
crazy
that point.
person?
Well, not just that, but like reactive abuse is a thing. Like a
Mm,
person can only take so much and then they start to give back that like crap that they've been given.
mm,
It spills over and it comes flows back out to the other person, and the person who has been perpetrating then has this, oh, why are you yelling at me, like calm down, when they've been pushing your buttons all day,
right.
and you finally snap and they're like, you're so crazy. That's a red flag.
Yes, it is. Oh, well said.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well
um
said.
okay, what else you got?
Okay, I have overly masculine. So she she has the idea that
I'm
they don't
gonna
need a
get
man for
so much
anything.
crap. What?
So she has the idea that they don't need a man for anything. I can fix this. I can do that.
Okay.
So I have a few thoughts on this. I mean, I get what they're saying. And a lot of the times we have to learn how to do things because we don't have men around us all the time to do things. So if we don't know how to do things, we're literally super vulnerable and just will fail at life, because if we don't know how to fix a light, or if we don't know how to take, carry our own groceries or whatever, like we won't be able to survive. So I
Yeah.
totally get it. I think there's a place where I appreciate if a man wants to help me do things.
Mhm.
I mean, really appreciate that. Makes my life so much easier. But I also understand the importance of being able to need to know how to do things myself when they're not around.
Okay. So you're talking about feminine energy, masculine energy. She is in her masculine, and that's why he's not attracted to her,
Mm,
right? Because she's
mhm.
too independent. She doesn't need him. Um, okay. So a lot of times, like you just said, when this happens, women want to live a soft life. We want to be
Mhm.
in love. We want to have a
Mhm.
family. We want to stay at home and
Yes.
do things and cater to you and be happy to see you when you come home. But these environments to nurture that femininity is not there. So you can't grow a plant without dirt and water and sunshine.
Mm.
So we all have those seeds in us to be a soft feminine, but the world is so hard that we have to put these shells on,
Oh, that's a good point.
right?
Yes.
So if your woman is not feminine enough for you, you might want to be like, am I masculine enough to allow her to be in the soft feminine, to be in the mother, the nurturing, stuff like that.
Right.
Um, if she has to go out and do 50-50 and work, she's going to have that edge.
Mhm.
Okay. Women only, I mean, not only, but when they're at home, that's when they develop those feminine ways of being, not
When
when,
when they feel safe and protected and
yes.
provided for. When we have to go 50-50 and we have to make some money too, we're also out in the world. We're not really protected out there. We're having to contribute in kind of a financial way.
Mhm.
We don't Yeah, there is going to be a little bit of an edge
Yeah.
just because
And
we're
there's
doing.
going to be a little bit of like, you know, girl boss, mommy, uh, take charge. So the more things that you can take off her plate, the more feminine she will be. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, what else you got?
Okay. Let's see. Um, so she talks to you in bro language, tries to be one of the guys, or she curses a lot.
Okay, good one.
I can can kind of agree with this. I think there has been a tendency for girls to start trying to, I feel like they're trying to compete or to be seen. And I feel like everyone would just relax more if we could go and do whatever we need to do. And I think this would also come with having women be nicer to each other. I think a lot of women are worried about, like, if you're with your boyfriend or your husband or something and there's other couples, being really nervous around the other women. Sometimes women can be mean. So I think if we felt more of a camaraderie with women, we'd be more comfortable going and hanging out with them. Whereas some of us have had bad experiences. So we go try to hang out with the guys and it's kind of a big mess. So I kind of agree with them that ideally in a perfect world, we would be separate doing our own things. The guys could be watching whatever they're watching. What do you think about that?
Cool girl. So what
Cool
you're
girl.
describing is the cool girl, and we're not doing that anymore. If you haven't heard, we're not we're not, just being cool with everything that they want to throw at you. Oh, me and my buddies, we're going for a boys' night. Cool. We're going to the strip club. Cool. I like to look at nudie pictures. Cool. I will too. It's the like agreeing with every boundary
Mm,
or not enforcing any boundaries, or agreeing with everything that he throws at you and having no say. You want to stay out till 3? Cool. We're not doing that because it's not helping anybody in their relationships. So no more cool girl behavior. We're not pretending to be interested in your interests.
right.
If he loves sports, fine. If she doesn't, then she can go do her thing. She's not gonna have to pretend, like, put on the that's so cringy when they don't care, but they're wearing the sports gear,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We don't care about your fantasy football. We don't like,
No, we don't.
and we're enforcing our boundaries of what we need to feel comfortable, and that's what intimacy comes out of for a woman. Like, the most sexiest thing you can do for a woman is make her feel at ease
Absolutely.
and comfortable in your presence and safe, secure, protected, provided for, etc. But it's the comfortability that lets her open up and give you access to her.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Right.
So
Yeah,
no
that's a
more
good point.
cool girl with no boundaries. There was a movie, what was it called? Gone Girl. And there's like a
Is that Ben
monologue.
Affleck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a monologue in there that she talks about, like, trying to appease men in this way to be the cool girl, is what drove her crazy. So
Mm.
you check that out. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
very good. All right, keep going.
Okay. Let's do some other ones.
I got
Drag queenification.
queenification.
Drag queenification.
Oh, okay. What do you?
So when the girl is starting to look like a character of a woman, even though she's already a woman,
Okay.
the giant eyelashes, the 3-inch long nails. My friend said, this is a woman who's probably not coming home and saying the Jesus prayer at the end of the day.
Okay.
So I feel like that's somewhat
So
that's
an
pretty valid.
excess of materialism.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. So there's nothing wrong with liking quality things, but I would add on to that, like, she only wants Louis Vuitton or Chanel or these designer things. Not that we shouldn't have nice things, but the people that make these things, you have to be a little bit smart. Like, Balenciaga is a perfect example. The Gucci heiress just came out and said that, she was abused. So all of these top designers and luxury items that you think make you a queen, are just aiding to terrible things like child TRAFF and
mm-hmm.
Satanism,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I would add to that excessive body mod, and some of these me and Jay were talking about. He had a whole bunch of red flags for women that he doesn't, mess with. Yeah, so excessive body mod. A couple piercings, a little tattoo. That I'm not saying that that's terrible, but when you get into full sleeves and neck and rings and like, excessively. I feel like the more that you do that, the more you are kind of marring the image of God.
I agree.
Um, and altering it to the point where we're going into the future into transhumanism. So you've seen those like carnival people, like I'm a reptile because I body mod my tongue to do this and I cut
have
off my
seen that.
ears. And this is definitely getting down the path to satanic behavior. So yes, body mod, tattoos, those also are a red flag of abuse. And I'm not saying that's that person's fault, but that's a lot of things that you're going to have to overcome and deal with. Because I mean, I don't know how to prove this, but I just feel like girls who get excessive tattoos and piercings have issues. Right? What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, I think there's some of that going on with the, like they said, drag queenification. When you have those fake eyelashes and the nails, and like the more you become this drag queen, even though you're a woman, there's something going on or has gone on in the past that hasn't been dealt with, emotionally.
The drag queen stuff is kind of like I don't know, are we gonna get in trouble for this? I don't, who cares? Let's circle back to that because I don't want to make anything that would get this channel deleted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a caricature of a woman.
Right. It's almost like the women are trying to keep up with pop culture, with what the men are doing to become TRA and NY,
We can add plastic surgery to that. That can be a mental illness. Excessive.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Similar to like bodybuilding or any kind of extreme thing you do, like anorexia, whatever you do to your body that's an extreme, it's body dysmorphia. Where you have to keep modifying your outward appearance, right?
Yes, exactly. I got one for girls. I put no clothes. I mean, I love getting dressed and I love clothes, and I don't think about being modest in a day-to-day situation when I'm getting dressed, but like I just end up, the things that I like are clothes. Okay, I like
they cover everything.
They cover the bits,
yes.
the things that you want to cover. Like I'm not trying to show excessive skin, but I like garments, and somebody who likes to walk around with not a lot of clothes on is a red flag. And I mean, there's a joke like a girl in cutoff shorts is trying to steal your man. Like to always look out for the one wearing cutoff jean shorts because she's trying to steal your man. But seriously, like not wearing clothes is a mental illness. If you talk to anybody that works in, like psychiatric fields and stuff like that, what the people are doing in the hospitals that need care is they're taking off their clothes all the time. And they're pleasing themselves all the time. So public nudity is a sign of mental illness.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I can see that. I mean, that's really getting to be a big deal. I live in a place where there's a bunch of apartments and there's a bunch of restaurants, and I've noticed a trend where women are just wearing less and less. There's the cutoffs, the midriffs, there's just the chest is showing and the legs are and the higher heels. It feels like it's different from when I was growing up.
Yeah.
It's getting more and more extreme.
It's like
I think they're seeing it on Instagram, maybe. I mean, I don't know.
I don't have a problem with being dressed up, elegant. I don't even have a problem with looking sexy. But you have to have some clothes on, right?
Right. As my coach says, you need to leave something for the imagination.
Well, what is that joke? Like the thought's superpower is they never get cold
I haven't heard that.
because um I didn't want to say the SLUT word, but yeah, that's their superpower because you always see them walking in the city, and when it's freezing outside, they're wearing like no clothes,
Oh, yes.
right? So
Yes.
aren't you cold? Like
They're
it's not
freezing. You know
worth
they're
it.
freezing.
It's not worth it.
It's not.
Okay. So please wear some
Okay.
clothes. Don't wear jean cutoffs, or I'm gonna think that you are a homewrecker. Okay.
It's a good piece of advice.
I don't know why. It's just that personality that loves the cutoff and the more frayed at the
Uh-huh.
bottom.
Where you can actually see the pockets hanging out like down their legs.
Yeah,
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
yeah. The more they will steal your man. Okay. Pills
Ooh.
or really any kind of addiction.
That could go for, I had that for the men as well. That could go both ways. But I think we have maybe different addictions,
Yeah.
right? The
Yeah.
women kind of, I think a red flag would be if she talks about drinking wine all the time.
Hmm.
Uh,
Alcoholism. Yeah.
yeah, pills for sure. Any
Yeah.
kind of like antidepressants, Adderall, that's a big one.
Mhm.
Dieting pills. Yeah.
Yeah. So pharma, alcohol, pills, all of those addictions are a sign of a person who does not have a lot of willpower.
Mm.
Um, yes, they have been abused. There are 100 reasons why they are self-medicating and coping in this way. Doesn't make them a good candidate for a partner.
No, that's stuff that they need to take care of when they're single
Yeah.
and fight through that. You can't bring that into a marriage because once you get into the marriage, you're still going to have the same problems and you don't want it.
And
That's
people
just too big.
realize they just like get into relationship after relationship and they don't take care of the things when they're in the relationship or out of it that would make them a better partner. And so it's a lot easier for lazy people to switch partners than it is to change something about themselves.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Um, what about overweight?
Oh, I haven't gotten that one, but that's definitely online.
Well, it's kind of in the same category of willpower and self-control. Not saying all overweight people are bad people or cheaters or anything like that. I'm just saying it could be a red flag or an indication that you can't say no to things that
Mm-hmm.
you're tempted by,
Mm-hmm.
right?
I agree.
Because the person that we have to learn to say no to first is ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a boundary issue with ourselves.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Okay, what else?
This is one from one of my friends. If she sends racy pictures, I
Okay.
think girls do this.
I
So
know
that these are probably the same girls with the cutoff shorts.
yeah.
So no racy pictures. That is a big red flag.
Okay.
I mean, we shouldn't be doing any of that prior to marriage anyway. I mean, and even after marriage, it's never a good
Yeah.
idea
Well,
to be sending racy pictures of yourself online. Oh, he's just asking for
and
trouble. Don't do that.
asking for them would be the other side of that red flag, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then another red flag that I was it's kind of related was if they work in sexualized topics to regular conversations, that's a big red flag.
Mm.
And it also shows what they're probably watching in their private time, where their brain is. So if you're just having a conversation and someone just starts making jokes or like, referencing things,
Yeah.
or their brain goes somewhere else, that's a huge.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, keep going.
Okay. If they don't have any friends of their own, that could be indicative of underlying issues. So we need to find somebody with friends. That goes for both people. So if they don't have any friends, this is why being single prior to getting married is a big deal, because you need to work out your interpersonal skills with friends at the church, with family. So when you get married, you're coming in with a strong support system. You've already had conflicts with people. You understand how to work things out on that kind of level before you find a husband, or a wife for that matter. So yeah, you need to find somebody with friends.
So no antisocial, that's a red flag. This is also a trait of a narcissistic person, does not have any real friends. They just go from group to group, person to person, and they don't have any sustained mature relationships,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Good one.
That reminds me, oh, where is it? I took a note of this. Was it St. Paisios? There was a girl that came to him and said, I think I want to be a monastic. And then he's like, I don't know if you're ready for that. She said, okay, fine. I think I'm ready to get married. I think I want to be somebody who gets married. And then 2 months later, 3 months later, oh, I think I want to be a monastic. And he said, actually, I think you should probably go join a hippie commune. And she was like, scandalized. Like, how could you tell me that? You're a priest. Like, why would I go join a hippie commune? He said, well, you're like a windmill. Like, you're going to do whatever the group that's around you is doing. So like when you're with a Christian, when you're with Christians, you're going to be a Christian. When you're secular, you're going to be a secular person. So you need to like work yourself out first, like work all that out, then choose your path. So I would say, yeah, the fact that if we're talking about friends, like make sure you have solid friends, make sure you're grounded and that you're making proper choices in that space rather than just going from place to place.
You can tell a lot about a person by their relationships and their friends. They say you're the average of the 5 people that you're closest to,
Yeah, I
right?
agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, birds of a feather, good one.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
Doesn't get along with the guy's friends or tries to talk badly about the man's friends. And that could go both ways too. If you try to, and that kind of piggybacks on another one that I have, that you try to separate that person from their support group.
Mm-hmm.
So if, like somebody has a few good friends or a coach or a spiritual father or somebody, and then your partner comes in and tries to like talk badly about them or separate you and kind of isolate you, that's a super red flag.
And
If they're trying to take you away from people that are supportive of you and mean a lot and lift you up, you don't want that.
think of the audacity that this person, this brand new person in your life, and you introduce them to these people that you've known for a very long time or your family, and they're like, I don't like them. You shouldn't hang out. I'm like, who do you think you are to come rearrange my whole life and isolate me from everybody that already loves me and has been good for me until the day I met you? Yeah, that's really good. That's a narcissistic abuse tactic too.
It
And
is.
I mean, people are harping on this all the time, but it's so important because this is what society is churning out is narcissists.
Yeah, this is super normal.
This
I
is what
mean,
our culture is bound to produce by the way that we live, right?
and I think it's our job when we're looking for a marriage to be asking questions and looking for these things. That's why I think this podcast is so important. I mean, it's really important because if you marry the wrong person, especially if you're Orthodox and you plan to be with this person forever, this stuff needs to be worked out. Your eyes need to be wide open when you're looking for a spouse
Well,
because
this is
this stuff is
probably,
everywhere.
aside from, getting baptized, this is the most important decision you're ever going to make. And it's going to affect everything that you do from the day that you decide to do it.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to the grave with this person.
Yeah.
This is it. And I think I can't remember who said it, but basically like if you marry the wrong person, you could potentially lose your soul if it's too hard.
Mm,
If you really could, like if you put a cross on yourself, that's not one that God wanted because you weren't looking and asking the right questions. I mean, you're really setting yourself up for some major problems. We don't want to make it harder than it needs to be. It's going to be hard enough, but these are
oh,
like some
yeah,
basics that we can look for.
exactly.
So yeah.
What about divorce and children? So we are getting to that age that it's going to be hard to find someone who hasn't had at least a long-term relationship before.
Yeah.
I don't think very many virgins are left over the age of, 25. Um, so if they have had a divorce or they have children, it might not be their fault, but it's a red flag.
It is a red flag. It's not something to like, I don't think that they're out completely, but what's their relationship like with their ex? If they ever say anything badly about the mother of their child, because that when you marry that person, they're going to be in your life too. So you would inherit all of that drama if that hasn't been worked out. If they don't want to see their children, if they don't like make an effort to see their kids, that's a huge red flag. Yeah, it's just something to consider.
The internet will disparage single moms all day long, which I think is terrible. Like they have enough to deal with without being treated like some pariah, but you never hear anybody say don't date a single dad,
No.
do you?
Mm-mm.
Which is equally as bad. If I mean, he's a single dad for why? Because he wanted to leave his family, or she decided that her life would be easier as treated like the scum of the earth to have this guy out of her life. So which of
Yeah.
these two guys do you want to get with?
Right.
Or maybe she is legitimately a terrible atheist, crazy, stabby queen. I don't know. I'm trying to be fair and like think of what circumstances would make dating this divorced man not a red flag, and I can't think of any. Unless she was just a total NPC, like
But wouldn't he kind of know that
that's what I
before they got married? Like, do you not have any, did you do
exactly.
no due diligence when you married her?
Don't you
Like,
know any of these red flags that
and
she
then
would turn out like that?
obviously they weren't close. Like, let's say they were both NPCs when they got married, and then he decided to wake up and she didn't. But like, were they never close to begin with? Because I feel like they would go together if they were that close to begin with. You
Yeah.
would shift together. So there was clearly not that tight bond at the beginning.
Yeah.
So, oh, good one.
Okay, what else?
Okay. Um, we were kind of talking about this last time. She rolls her eyes when he talks about his dreams, and that goes both ways. If somebody makes fun of you for stuff that you're passionate about, that's a huge red flag.
Okay.
Or stuff that you want to do, or that just stuff you find exciting, and that you want a partner that's really supportive of you. So anyone who kind of undercuts you in public or in private, nobody likes that.
Okay. Non-supportive. Good one is a red flag.
Non-supportive.
And I
Red
would
flag.
add to that disrespectful.
Yeah.
So just disrespectful to her man in general, in public and private, like that's a red flag. Um, something to be aware of, and here's a red flag on the men's side, is that a lot of times guys will date a girl before they have reached their self-actualization. Let's say he wants to be a doctor and he knows that he's going to be in medical school for 8 years and he's dating in that time, and it is a possibility that he's using the people he's with for to get his needs met right now, but he has no intention of being with those people after he reaches that point to his success. When
Yes.
he dated, he will pursue the girl that he's always wanted to be with all along. And so this dives into long dating, which is a super red flag.
Super, super red flag.
Whenever someone starts their relationship, like complaint or advice, whatever, and they say, me and my boyfriend have been together 5 years, I'm like, okay, stop.
Yeah.
Way too long. Okay, guys know within like 6 months to a year if this is going somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And some even say, I knew she was going to be my wife the first time I saw her. It does not take 8 years and 3 children and a mortgage and like a vacation every year for him to figure out if he's going to marry her. Or the other way around. If she doesn't want to get married, woo, that's a huge red flag. Like, I don't even know any women like that. Right.
Yeah, no, we shouldn't be dating if we're not ready for marriage. And the man has no right to ask for commitment at all from the woman if he's not ready to propose. Like there should, I really don't think, like, you can't ask for exclusivity if you're not in a position to be exclusive. So if you are waiting to be a doctor and you're like, well, it's going to be in 8 years, I'll marry you then, but in the meantime, can we be exclusive? Well, no,
Right.
because you're not in that position and I'm ready to go. Like, you can't just hold me in the side while you do whatever you need to do, because there's no guarantee that in 8 years that's going to happen. So no, I don't think they have any
And
right to
he
that.
he will let her, support him and be there and respect him and be his
So they get
leader and pick up the slack, all thinking this is going to pay off someday when he becomes a doctor. We're going to get married. And then she's like gobsmacked when he dumps her as soon as he graduates, because now he can pull the ladies that he thinks that he, can pull as a doctor. And it wasn't you. You're the med school student girlfriend. Okay. You're not Dr. Wife.
Right. He feels like he upgraded
Yes.
and you gave him everything he wanted for free.
Mhm.
Like, what's that saying? Why would you buy the cow when you get the milk for free?
Yes. So we're not doing that anymore.
We're not doing that anymore.
Bob the Builder, they call it. Have you heard that?
What was it called?
Bob the Builder.
Mm-mm.
Bob the Builder says, build with me, build our future together, but not get married. And someday we'll get married when I reach where I want to get to. He's not going to marry you.
No. And we're not going to take that chance.
No.
We're not taking those chances.
We're not
anymore.
Bob the Builders anymore.
No, we're not.
Okay.
I think also just in regards to their ex too, going back to that, like if they still have any contact, like let's say they don't have kids or it wasn't their ex, or, their ex-wife, but if it's just an ex-girlfriend, like any contact with the ex in general, or like you can tell that there's still any feelings there, I think that's a big red flag. Like you need to be 100% satisfied with being single and where you are and in your relationship with God, away from your ex. If that's an ex, there's an ex for a reason. Obviously there's healing, but like that needs to be taken care of first.
Yes. No monkey branching, and women and men are both guilty of this.
Monkey branching?
Yeah. You know how monkeys like grab onto one before they let
yes.
that one. So
this is super common. Like, oh, I'm out of this relationship. I'm just going to go to this one and show her that I'm, over it or whatever. Yeah, no, we're not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of times this is coming from revenge. So the person that they were with are having problems, and he's just using you to get back at that person. And he's treating you good out of spite. Right? Because he's like, you never took me to this restaurant. And as soon as he gets with you, where do you think you're going? Where she wanted to go, so he could rub it in her face.
Ooh.
And girls do this too. I'm just saying, men, women, like it's the same.
It's true. It's very true.
Yeah.
It's very true. Or to try to convince themselves that this is the love that they never, like they didn't have. And they're trying to like not tell themselves that they're still hurt. They don't want to admit that they're hurt.
Oh, yeah.
So they're trying to cover it up. It's like a new addiction. They're just going to become addicted to you now because they don't want to feel the hurt that was caused by the trauma of the breakup or by the cheating or whatever horrible thing happened, The
rebound. We're not doing that anymore.
No, we're not doing that.
Okay. What else?
Okay. This was a good one. Being flaky. Like if you are always making plans and then canceling, actually one of my friends said, somebody who's dodgy about going on dates. He had a situation where he thought they were exclusive and then he went on Facebook and then she had a ring on and it was not the one that he did not give it to her. So I know. I was like, wow. So I think like paying attention if someone's always canceling or not, you don't feel like a priority. That should be a super red flag. You want somebody who's like open with communication, where you are in your relationship. Yeah, you got to make sure that you're the only one. Well, not just open in the communication. Here's where I'm at. That's a big red
flag. Yeah, so women will do this because of material perks, financial perks, gifts, trips, company, dinners. They're guilty of that for sure. And men will do that, for the ego boost or for whatever reason. They like the chase. They like the conquest. They like the variety. Right? Okay. Red flag.
There's always something better. The dating apps are like a big part of this. I think that's a red flag too. If they have a bunch of dating apps or they've been on a dating app for like 10 years and they're still doing it, that's more like a video game. You're just having fun. You just want to go out and have dinner with somebody. That goes for girls too. Like I think a lot of girls do it just to go out and have drinks or whatever and just talk to somebody because they're lonely.
Yeah.
Which Tinder, is using them, Tinder,
Bumble, Hinge, all of these. they change your brain almost. I've never used one, but I could see how it would operate on the same way as like gambling. Like, so you meet someone, you hit it off, you really like them, you think you could have a relationship, but it's always in the back of your mind, what if I cashed in this person for more chips and went again, so you're like spinning again and again and again, and
Oh,
you're
yeah, that's
swiping,
a
swiping,
great point.
swiping.
Mhm.
Just like those freaking old boomers at the casino, like sitting there staring at the slot machine with their cigarettes the whole time. They're just throwing their life into this machine. So are you when you are constantly trying to trade up because you feel like you have an infinite number of people that will be compatible with you, and that's just not the case.
Absolutely. That's a great analogy. There's always something better. I bet the next one is going to have this trait. I bet the next one's going to have this color hair or whatever it is.
It's
You're
like,
just
oh,
addicted to it.
yeah, I met you and you're so wonderful, but what if,
Hmm.
there's someone even more wonderful out
There's
there?
still all these other girls I haven't, gone on a date with, and they're right here on my phone.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
this is the gigs grass is greener syndrome. And it's like, well, the grass is going to be green where you water it,
Yeah.
right? If you tend to it, you're going to have a nice lawn. But if you keep on going from lawn to lawn to lawn, you're always going to be disappointed.
You're not ever going to have any flowers unless you stay in the same yard for a long time.
That's true. Yep. Okay. We're doing good. I think these are really interesting.
Hmm.
Okay, keep going.
Okay. Rude or disrespectful. I think you touched on this to anybody, like not just you. If you go somewhere and they treat the employees badly, very bad sign.
I put that one down. How did they treat service?
Hmm.
There's two personalities that I cannot abide and I will not hang out with you for a very long time. One is a snob, right? And one
Hmm.
is a smug person. Like I can't. If your smugness is wafting off, it just makes me wretch. Like I can't do it. Smug, snob, we're not going to go along. So yeah, does he understand that people, are also people, even if they are the waiter or the valet or the person, that you think is underneath you in the service industry serving you? Do they treat them with respect or do they look down on them? That's a huge
Hmm.
red flag
Hmm.
or green flag, depending on how they treat them.
Yes. I'll probably go with the tip too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a huge fan of when I see them take forever to work out what 20% is. I don't know. I just
You're gonna need someone who's generous. I just a guy who complains about money all the time is so unattractive. Even if you have a little bit, even if you have a ton of money and you're like, this costs how much? And you just complain about it, you're ruining the entire
or you're
experience.
always skeptical that someone's stealing from you. Like when you look at the receipt and you're thinking that they put an extra thing on there or they overcharge you for something, no matter where you go, and they're just really analyzing the receipt and like,
Yeah,
oh, I don't know. Wait, did you order a second iced tea? Okay, well, I just want to make sure because I don't want to,
yeah.
that kind of thing. Like,
Tightwads is unattractive. And they're always like, but what about gold diggers? And I'm like, sir, where's this gold that you speak of? Because it's always the broke guys that complain about gold diggers.
yeah,
Because rich guys understand that women cost money and families
right.
cost money. But it's always like these people who have nothing and they're like, oh, women are gold diggers. And like, where's the gold, man? Is the gold in the room with us right now? Like, where is it?
Right.
Um, okay.
Agreed.
So generous being
Oh,
okay.
here was one that one of the girls, I was telling you I just came from a youth group event, and so all the girls were like jumping in, telling me like their 2 cents, and they're 16 and 17. So it was, and actually they were a lot more mature than a lot of people my age. So one of them said, if there's like two things, let's say there's you're at a meal and there's a plate of food and he takes the better portion right away,
Mm,
that's a red flag.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
Just
salted.
little things like you're right away, he's going ahead and putting himself first straight
Yeah.
away. It's a red flag.
A man who continuously puts himself first is a huge
Mhm.
red flag. But I wanted to say, like, there's a difference between like being frugal with money and being responsible and being a tightwad and being generous versus being a big spender. So these are kind of things that you have to navigate because
There's definitely nuance, and it also comes with a spirit. You can kind of tell what the attitude is behind him when he's paying, or like, so it is, yeah, very nuanced.
yeah.
You got to be careful.
Okay, what else you got?
Okay. I just got a text message at the 9th hour. Is that the right, or the 11th hour? Is that how you say it? From one of my guy friends. And he said, bad hygiene, doesn't take care
Ooh,
of herself or her spaces. Messy room often means an unorganized life.
clean your room. Okay, good one. Disorganized, chaotic, bad hygiene. Yes.
I would tend to agree with that. And that goes for both.
Yeah.
And
Guys
that
don't.
kind of goes with dressing too. Wardrobe, if you
Mhm.
can't tuck in your shirt, just like, you don't have to be the snazziest dresser. As a matter of fact, I don't think that's preferred if you're like overly looking at your clothes, but just basic, like, you know how to dress for church. Like, you put on a nice pair of slacks and you look in the mirror a couple times before you
Just
go, you
act
know,
like a grown up.
just act like a grown
Like,
up.
tie your shoes. Good job. Uh, yeah. I don't think a lot of guys realize how far the good hygiene will take them in being attractive.
Oh my gosh.
If this is bare minimum stuff, you guys, but like if your breath isn't smelly and your hair isn't greasy and your clothes aren't like nasty, then you're going to be in a higher percentile than a lot of other guys because the infantilization of men is killing me right now. And we got into this discussion about because they always say women are becoming more feminine. And yes, I can agree with that in the way that they're putting like hormones and chemicals and things in the
Mm-hmm.
environment, in the water, in
Mm-hmm.
the air. So like estrogen, birth controls, that stuff does get in there and it changes you, maybe feminizes you a little bit. But when they say men are becoming like women, they're they're saying like they're equating femininity with terrible traits
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
like cowardice and herd mentality and being easily fooled and manipulated and weak and like these are feminine things,
Mm-hmm.
which I don't agree with that at all. So if we could reframe this feminization of men into what I would more correctly say the infantilization of men, because they're just like they can't regulate their emotions, they can't dress, they can't do hygiene, they can't get a big boy job, you know. So it's not like men are becoming more like women, they're becoming more like children.
Great point. What a great point.
Yeah.
Yes.
We said this last time in when I made that jokey thing, and I tried to bring it up in a like a group dinner, and the guy who was like facilitating it just totally missed the point. So
I do
anyway,
feel that way sometimes when I see comments on my video of like, did you listen to the video? Like, sometimes I feel when I'm speaking with men, this isn't all, this is like a few, but like, it's like they don't hear what I'm saying. Like, there's a brick wall between me and them where they literally are hearing something else that's not coming out of my mouth. And then they get angry about something that didn't actually happen.
mhm.
Have you noticed that?
Oh yeah, a bulk of the
It's
negative YouTube comments that I get about these things are like that. And it's like, how do you even argue with I want people to get along and be in love and like not be in abusive situations? How is this something you want to grapple with me about? It's just weird to me.
it's very strange.
Okay. How
Okay.
about
Um,
somebody who's envious? That's a
yeah.
huge red flag.
That's a huge red flag. that would go with maybe like somebody who invades your privacy too, like goes through your phone or your computer. I mean, that kind of stuff can get kind of scary. Like that, it's yeah. I've had some like it really threw me for a while because I had my things broken into just because the person had some kind of mental weird thing in their head. Anyway, so yeah, that's
Yeah,
a big red flag.
so that person is pretty insecure. Um, I would say after marriage, my husband wants to use my phone or he looks at my phone. That's not going to be an issue.
Mhm.
Like after marriage, my phone is your phone. The computers don't have passwords. Like,
Right.
you know, but yeah, if you're dating and they're trying to find dirt on
Hmm.
you or something like that,
Hmm.
and you have done nothing to make them feel like you would betray them, that is projection. That's a red flag because they're probably doing something bad behind your back.
Hmm.
And that's why they think that you're doing something behind their back,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Absolutely.
Um,
Um,
okay, how about toys and fantasy? So this could go for girls too. I mean, girls like cutesy, stupid stuff just as much as guys like their Star Wars toys and girls like their stupid squishmallows or whatever. Like, let's grow up
yeah.
and be adults. If you've got a house full of toys, that's a red flag.
So you're saying if you're a Disney adult?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you can't enjoy your life. I'm just saying if your life revolves around fantasy and child things,
I
you are
agree.
not
It means
ready.
you haven't grown up. Or like let's say as a kid they were watching something like not saying that I've seen this example specifically, but like if you watch Dragon Ball Z and all the characters like these super muscly guys, you grow up to be a bodybuilder. You literally don't even recognize that you have started to model your entire life and live your whole life after a fantasy cartoon character. I think this is really happening with people that have grown up with TV, which a lot of us have in secular culture, that it's an unconscious thing that we are living our life based on a fantasy cartoon character. This
Mhm.
is a big red flag. Like at some point, you've got to realize, like, okay, oops,
Because
and become an adult.
I'm not just being a big meanie who hates fun. I'm saying these fantasy stuff can get PORN
Hmm.
really fast. Cosplay, what do you think dressing up like a Sailor Moon or any other character as an adult is going to lead to? It's you are acting out a nerd's fantasy,
Hmm.
right? And it's sexual.
Hmm.
It's not just like cute, fun times at Comic-Con. This is a fetish.
Right.
And somebody with all of these weird fetishes is not going to make a good partner if he's attracted to My Little Pony and he's like putting flashlights in, stuffed animals.
Agreed.
Okay.
Well, and especially, I mean, if you're Orthodox, I mean, fantasy is not our friend. We really should be striving to stay in reality and truth,
Yeah.
which is the opposite of fantasy land.
Yeah.
So that's really not something to be proud of at a certain point, at a certain age.
Yeah. I'm not saying you can't read Tolkien or do like what you sci-fi or whatever, but that's not the real world. And you need to have a compartment that you have that in that doesn't take up all of your time. This can also lead to serious psychological disorders. Like, have you ever heard of maladaptive daydreaming?
No.
So, I mean, it's just basically disassociation and living in your head, in your fantasy world, making up new lives, new loves, new characters, new worlds, new friends. Like, you just fantasize all the time while your reality crumbles around you,
Ooh.
right?
Yeah, it's a form of dissociation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No bueno. Okay,
No.
here's a good one. Love bombing.
Yeah.
This was, well, now I'm kind of moving into the red flags for men. Is that okay?
Yeah. Go ahead.
But love bombing is pretty big. So this is when they start doing stuff like charming people. I don't think the word charming is good. It's a verb. So it's something that they're using for control to allure or attract. It's not inherent to your personality. So like you put on a smile that's, oh, what a charming smile. That's not who he is. That's like an intentional thing to try to manipulate you to do something. So I think
In,
that
in magic, that would be known as glamour. Glamoring
oh
people,
yeah.
manipulating them with, charm and razzle dazzle and glamour. Um,
Yes.
it's not a positive thing, even in the occult world.
I think you said too last time, nice does not mean goodness. That's also an act. We're not inherently nice. Like that's something we do to try to get people to like us. You can be kind. I think you can genuinely be a kind person, but that's different than being nice, which is
Mhm.
like masking what you really think.
Mm-hmm.
Kind, you're not really masking it, you're showing kindness,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's different. Um, Forced teaming. So when someone says stuff like, oh, this is a problem, how are we going to handle this? And starts putting we into everything when you just started dating,
Okay.
that's a red flag. Like they're basically injecting themselves into your reality really quickly. So just kind of like putting themselves too closely, too quickly, I think is a big red flag.
Yeah. So look out for the love bombing. And it's so funny because like we're we're all susceptible to that because we want to believe that someone sees us in that way. Like, of course he would fall in love with me after a date. Like, why wouldn't he? Like
That's so true.
yeah.
It is like it is something we want to believe because it is painful to see in the world somebody who's trying to manipulate you. That is less attractive for us to want to accept than for, well, this guy really likes me and he really sees how wonderful I
Yeah,
am.
finally somebody gets it. Like that
Right.
I'm amazing and I'm the best thing that ever happened. Like, yeah.
But these people need to be watched out for because
Yeah.
I've heard it be, so I read this book, where is it? The Gift of Fear. So this is where I'm getting this from,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
This is by Gavin de Becker. Anyway, it's great. Survival skills that protect from violence, but it could be from anything, right? From manipulation. Loan sharking. So he does things specifically to put you in his debt. So he'll buy you things, but in his head, he's calculating the debt, like what you owe him. So if he carries your groceries or he holds the door for you, wow, I've done nothing but be nice to you for the last 3 days and you can't even give me a date. Like, do you think you're better than me? Like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's a
What
lot
did you
more
call that?
common.
Loan sharking?
Loan sharking. So they're doing
Okay.
something to make you pay them later. You
I
know what I
I've
mean?
heard this, not that word, but the concept in regards to like husbands doing chores around the house because they want intimacy.
Ooh,
And they're like, well, I did the dishes, so now you have to like reciprocate
yeah.
with what I want. So that's
No.
not romantic.
Well, that's not, no, we didn't agree to that. Just because you do something, we didn't sign a contract that was like, if you do this, you get this. Like that contract was never signed. You
Yeah.
can't in your head calculate stuff that we owe you because you decided.
I
So yeah,
babysat my own children all day, so now you owe me like whatever I don't know.
yeah, you can't do that. Typecasting,
Okay.
they will, this is another manipulation tactic. Oh, you're probably too snobbish to talk to the likes of me, or wow, well, you probably think you're way too pretty to talk to. So they'll give you like a tiny little insult, and then
Mhm.
you feel like insulted and you want to like not have him think that. You're like, oh no, oh, of course not. And so you try to correct that insult. And that gives him an open door. So it's the response he's looking for. He wants you to combat his little tiny insult, tic tac of an insult, and that gives him the open door.
Is
So
that
it's
going into negging?
what's negging.
Negging is like something that the um pickup artists do. So they'll find the prettiest girl in the vicinity and they'll go right up to her and start a conversation. And in that conversation, they'll try to work in an insult
Ooh,
to throw her off balance because she already has confidence from being pretty, but they want to knock her down.
that sounds like the exact same thing.
Okay.
Yes.
So negging is a thing that it's a strategy
Hmm.
that some people apply just to make you feel shitty so that you
They
feel
can,
they have a chance with you.
yes, that is
Yeah.
a big red flag. If someone insults you, even but it's so easy to miss because it's surrounded by like compliments,
Yeah, and
and
they
it's
do it
just
in
like
a
a little,
teasing way, like,
uh-huh,
or
with a
you're
little flirty way, but it's designed to, you're right, knock you
like,
down.
they could be like, "Oh, you're a total 9" or something, and then in the back of her mind's like, "Well, what's wrong with me? Why am I not a 10?"
And
Or
now she has the back step, and then he can come in and take control of the situation.
yes.
Yes. Nobody has time for that. Oh, discounting the word no. That's a big red flag. So that could do with boundaries in general. Like if they're trying to sleep with you right
Mhm.
away, if they're trying to, if you say you don't want to eat a certain food and they can't hear no, oh come on, you have to try it. Just if it's a struggle for you to say
Mm.
no, that's a huge red flag.
This is something that I've noticed. I have another example. It's a guy again. I'm sorry, but this lady posted that her husband for Valentine's Day took her to eat at the top of a tall building where you dangle and have dinner or something like that, right?
Hmm.
And but the problem was her phobia is heights.
Oh,
So it's like, do you hate her? Why would you take her to a rooftop restaurant where you're dangling over the in the sky as your gift to her? Like, I think that's kind of sick,
absolutely.
right?
Definitely puts him in an advantage
Because,
situation. I mean, if
I
she's
mean,
uncomfortable.
doing
Yeah,
making somebody do something they're afraid of, either by manipulation or coercion or force, is I think it's one of those like Geneva Convention of things that like it's this is abuse,
hmm,
right? Like scientists and doctors agree that you do not put people in scary situations to help them get over it.
if they say no, they say no. Like no
Yeah.
is a, that's it. That's a no.
Yeah. No is
So
a full sentence.
it's a full sentence. Yeah. Um, yeah, and on the same note of like wanting to go to bed right away, my priest told me that how like guys will be like, well, if you loved me, you'd let me, and then
Mhm.
the girl's supposed to say, well, if you loved me, you wouldn't even try.
Mhm.
So I kind of liked that, but like that's kind of true. Like, and if he's a struggling Orthodox Christian, he gets that and he won't even ask. But if you're dating guy, I mean, that's kind of a thing. Like, should we even be dating? If you're Orthodox, like, should you even be dating somebody who's secular? Because they don't play by the same rules. So you're just kind of setting yourself up for failure. So I would kind of probably argue for not. Like, there's really no reason to do that unless you're asking for more trauma or like
Mhm.
hardship. So yeah.
Okay.
Another one, like manipulation. Have you heard this? Like, well, nobody will ever love you like I do. Like I see stuff in you that nobody else will see. Like you will never find somebody who loves me,
Oh
who
yeah,
loves you the way I do.
that's manipulation. Or saying like you'll never find somebody who doesn't cheat on you, or you'll never
Yeah,
all men do this, or all women are like this. Yeah, that's shady. That's
yeah. I learned that from, or they use guilt. Like, oh, if you leave me, I'm just gonna unalive myself.
mm-hmm.
Stuff like that. So they'll keep you with them. I learned that in this book, Emotional Blackmail. This was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It was about when people in your life use fear. So they use fog, fear, obligation, and guilt to manipulate you.
Mm-hmm.
So I liked that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what they do. It's out there. It is out there, guys and girls. Okay. Oh, they treat their mother poorly. So how they treat their mother is
Ooh.
probably going to be how they treat you. This is not in every case, but it's something to look out for anyway, how they treat their family.
Family issues, mommy issues, daddy issues, these come up so much. And Freud was really onto something when he talks about how important all of these familiar relationships are. Because a man with a poor mom or mother wound, they call it, has to recognize those things before he can be a good partner because he'll subconsciously be trying to punish his partner for the things that his mother did to him.
Mm.
And he'll be like, all women are this, or all women are, whatever his mom, the shortcoming that his mom had. And
Mhm.
same for girls with their daddy issues, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
this is the red flag of all red flags for men. Like, does she have daddy issues? And it's like, yeah. And it's not their fault because they were just children, but they have to be aware and heal these wounds before you present yourself as relationship material, right?
Agreed. Yeah.
It doesn't always happen, but these are the generational curses that we are out here breaking.
That's
And
what we're doing.
yeah,
Yeah,
tearing down the strongholds.
that's right. Um, and they also like the emotional attachment to the parents needs to need to understand where that's appropriate. Like when you get married, your wife or your husband is now your like the primary focus. So you will make decisions based on your new family unit, and you will leave like the opinions and all of that not completely behind, but there's an appropriate place for it. I think that's a
It's not
huge
the
red flag for us.
priority.
Is a lot of the guys are still emotionally attached or financially attached to their mom.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be a real big problem if they take their mom's input over yours when you're married. So that kind of needs to be worked out
I've
prior
noticed
to.
one of the pitfalls of being a single parent, of being a single mom in particular to a boy is so hard because a
Mm,
boy cannot learn how to be a man from a woman.
mm,
He cannot learn how to be a good man unless he knows a good man to look up to.
mhm,
And she can knock herself out trying to be the best mom to this boy. But if he doesn't have that masculine male influence,
mm,
he's going to grow up thinking that women cater to me without me having to reciprocate anything because that's how
mhm,
moms are. Moms just give, give, give. Moms don't expect anything back, really, right?
mhm,
From their children. Um, so this is his model of how he's supposed to be catered to continuously by a wife if he had a single mom and not learning how to treat a woman because a good father is not going to let a son take advantage of his wife,
mhm.
whether it's by, excess of doing all his laundry or all of his rides everywhere. Just like catering to this boy as a woman is not
Mhm.
healthy.
Right.
I don't know. Do you agree with that?
Totally. I totally agree. And I mean, how we heal it, I don't know unless they go to therapy or unless they get in the church and start hanging out with the priests and the men in the church and go to the brotherhood. And I think it'll take some time.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of brings me back to like the importance of being single. Like once you convert or once you really start struggling in your spiritual life, like you need to give yourself some time prior. Like don't do that to a girl or a guy, like get married right away because you think you have to be married or monastic, like right away. Like there is a period of time where you need to get yourself together and heal from these things prior to making that commitment. I think that's super important. So I think it's possible, but yeah, it's if it hasn't been dealt with, that's definitely a red flag. And they might start treating, if you get married to one of those guys, they might start treating you like you're their new mommy.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's not cool.
No. And he will despise you in the end, anyways. So it's like there's nothing good can come of letting people get away with crap for men or women. Because if you overwork yourself for a man, and then now you're run down, now you're less attractive, now you're getting fat and ugly and like stressed out, and your cortisol's up, and your nervous system is dysregulated, and you're unpleasant to be around.
Mhm.
Um, it's just it's not healthy for anyone, even though you think you might be sacrificing for love or whatever. We're not doing that anymore. We're not.
Yeah, being agreeable doesn't necessarily mean that you're loving. Or if you're trying to do what you think you should do as a wife by like just going along to get along, that's not really that loving. Like there needs to be boundaries,
No. And
you
like,
know?
what if he's doing something like, you know, if he's having an affair, what are you supposed to do? I submit to you and you know better than I do. And like you're the spiritual leader, so I guess it was my fault that you stepped out and like we're not doing that.
We're not doing that anymore.
No.
No, those days are over.
All the things that are done with.
These are things that are in the past. We are moving on.
Yeah.
Oh, here's one. Did I already say this one? He wants to get married right away or not at all.
Yeah.
We need to figure this out like within the first couple dates. Like that needs to be squared away. There needs to be an appropriate time to court where you are doing your due diligence. You're basically buying a house when you're looking for a spouse. Like this is going to be yours forever. So you need to like ask the right questions. But if you're interviewing someone who doesn't ever want to get married, like what are you doing? That's a huge red flag.
Yeah.
If you're somebody who wants to get married, get out of there.
That's
Right away. There, he's not going to change his mind. Like if he's already there, like he might, but it's not your business down the line. Like again, we're not taking that chance. Or if he wants to get married right away, then he doesn't know you well enough to know if you're the right wife. That's a big red flag too.
Not too fast, not too slow. It has to be the Goldilocks timeline. For me, that would be probably like a year and a half until proposal.
I would agree with that.
A full season of holidays and,
Yes.
you know, getting to know family and friends and the other person so that you can see them in different situations and how they handle things. Like, you know, maybe even take a trip, not sleep together, but traveling with somebody will really bring out their true colors.
Yes.
But if it's going on past 2 years and there's no reason, like there's no real obstacles or goals or whatever, like I understand guys want to put blocks on blocks, like I have to get this and this and then a wife and then this and this, and that's fine. But stretching it out for 8 years and you have children together and you're living together, that's just a recipe for getting your heart ripped out as a woman.
I think moving in with somebody before you're married is a really bad idea, but that's such secular.
We're not doing that
the
anymore.
norm. We're not doing that.
No, even the secular girls aren't doing that anymore.
No, we should not be doing that.
No.
You're just giving them everything. You're taking care of them. And a lot of them are paying half the rent. Like, no.
Yeah.
You're just playing husband and wife.
How about this one? How do they drive?
Oh, that's such a good one. And do they make fun of women while they're driving? How about, so yes, I guess those are two separate things. I got ahead of myself, but you're so right. How are they angry? Do they have road rage? Are they driving all over the place? Like that's probably how they're living their life too. Do they blame all the other drivers?
Yeah.
Yeah. Great one.
If they are constantly like making you feel like you're gonna puke or you're gonna get in a wreck, like spending your life with this person, you're gonna be in the car with them a lot. And if they're an idiot driver, then you're not gonna have fun getting to your destinations.
Or if you're not probably gonna get there safely, do they have drinks at dinner and then drive you home? We don't like that.
Yeah.
I'm precious cargo.
It's funny because I'm serious about driving. Like I've been to traffic school like 10 times and I used to drive like an idiot, but I don't anymore because I'm trying to get better. Right. So now I drive like a responsible adult and I look down on people who drive like idiots.
These things happen when you become like more responsible.
Yeah. I used to be like a super speed demon. I mean, I got a ticket for going 120 one time.
Did you really?
Yeah. And I had to see the judge and tell her why I don't deserve to have my license taken away. And like the older you get, the more you realize you're taking everybody else's life in your hands, including your own. And one tiny mistake and your life is ruined or over, or someone else's life is ruined or over. So yeah, distracted drivers, angry, skiing, don't know the traffic rules. That's so unattractive.
It's very unattractive. That shows me that you don't care about safety, and safety is like a big thing. I want to feel safe with who I'm with. I want to make sure that that person knows that I feel safe. Safety is very important. So if you're driving like a bat out of hell.
And what does their car look like? Is it full of like, you know, sunflower seed shells and like Twinkie wrappers and Cokes? Like, is it gross or is it nice? Right. You can tell a lot about somebody by the inside of their car and how they drive. Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah, I guess and the other point that I was making was the men that make fun of women drivers, like that they have that little misogyny going on, or that like male chauvinist attitude. Like that's something to watch for. I've seen that a couple times, and like maybe it's funny the first joke, but then the second or third joke where they keep laughing and they'll speed up to like, I bet that's a woman driver, and they'll speed up. It is a woman driver, and they're like looking for it. Just that doesn't have to be necessarily with driving, but just something to look out for if they're like making fun of women in any capacity. Like that's a spirit that needs to be handled when you're single. There's clearly been some stuff that went on their past. They're not happy with women. Like that needs to be worked out prior to dating, prior
Yeah.
to marriage.
Making universal disparaging comments about either gender is a red flag. So a girl who's like, all men are pigs is a red flag.
Right. Right.
And a guy who's like, all women are stupid, that's a red
Right.
flag too. So yeah.
Agreed. Agreed.
Okay.
Okay. If he's always in between jobs or holding out for management.
Okay. He has no
Why is that?
stick-to-itiveness. He doesn't know what he wants, or he can't hold it down, or he has an attitude problem.
Hmm.
Yeah. I I feel like guys need a purpose.
Yeah.
And if they feel like they don't have a purpose, or they're not living up to their potential and their purpose, they're gonna treat you badly
Mm-hmm.
because they're
It's
not.
almost like they'll try to push you away because they can't act, they don't actually want the responsibility of taking a wife. They feel like they can't. So they'll be mean to push you away, and they'll be like, look, it's your fault.
Mhm.
Right.
Or they'll say, if someone says like, you're too good for me, or I don't deserve you, that's a red flag. Red flag, because you should believe them.
Yeah.
They know what they're talking about. You probably are too good for them and they don't deserve you.
Agreed. Recreational drug use,
Yeah.
you know,
That
microdosing.
is
Or any kind of ayahuasca stuff,
I put, yeah, okay.
ceremonies, you know.
So this is all under the category like spiritual, new agey, yeah, man, like just take mushrooms, man, and like see God, and then we'll all get along. And like I take ayahuasca and I talk to the angels and told me we're all one and blah blah. Like, okay, that's
Yeah, get out of there.
yeah. Man bun,
Get out of there.
microdoser.
Sleeping in the woods doing ayahuasca with a
Yeah, red
bucket. Just
flag.
red flag.
He probably has a tattoo around his belly button, which is like one of the biggest red flags.
That is a
See
big red flag.
those dudes like with the sun like around their belly button?
Yes. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. No, red flag.
That person is a red flag. Okay.
Okay. I have a few more from this book called Safe People.
Okay.
And I thought these were pretty good. And I changed, well, so he said unsafe people are religious instead of spiritual. I changed that to be a little more orthodox. It would say unsafe people are pharisaical versus religious.
Okay.
So you don't want to be with a guy who thinks that God has given him power to tell you about like how you should live your life. Like if he thinks that he, you know, and there's a lot of those that thinks that they have a God-given right to correct you on every move. So he's like a Pharisee and not looking at his own self. That's a huge red flag. His job is now to correct you rather than to struggle with his own passions. The guys that think they have it all together instead of admitting their weakness. I'm saying guys, but this could be girls too, for sure. They have it all together instead of admitting their weaknesses. Oh, they're defensive. So if you try to have a conversation and they're defensive, like their first reaction is to be defensive rather than being like, oh, you're hurt about something. That's red flag.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I think in the masculine feminine dynamic, I think guys do this a lot because they feel like they're being attacked. If you're not happy, they want you to be happy if they love you. And you're going to them and you're telling them you're not happy, they take it as an attack on them rather than you two figuring out how to solve a problem together. Because a lot of times it's his behavior and he doesn't want to deal with that, right?
Well, I look at this as like, if someone's stepping on your toe, they don't mean to step on your toe. Like they're not aware of it. They step on your toe and you're like, ouch, you're stepping on my toe. You're not mad at them, but they're on your toe and it's hurting. You have
Right.
to tell them to get off. And then they're like, well, I didn't mean anything, you know, and they get, but how can you tell that, like, if you keep stepping, if I don't say anything and you're stepping on my toe is going to turn blue. And like, I have to tell you, it's going to get worse. It's not about you. You don't mean to. I know that. So I kind of look at it as that, like, ideally, this person's going to be confrontable. Like, you can tell them if something is off.
A lot of people, when they fight and argue, they just want to win. Like they don't want to grow as a couple and solve the problem and get closer. They want to be the winner of the argument and shut the other person down as fast as possible. Right? So that kind of personality is a red flag.
Yes, if they fight with the silent treatment too, like if they're just like, I'm done with this conversation and leave, that sort of thing. If they just shut it down or they just whatever. Whatever.
The silent treatment is one of the worst tactics that you can do to somebody. And this is under the flag of narcissistic abuse. And they know what they're doing because silent treatment is just like negating that entire person and their existence. And it hurts really bad. And it's a very unhealthy way of conflict resolution. So yeah, if you're fighting with someone and you can't get a hold of them and they like shut you out for days at a time, just let it.
I heard a lot of that from my guy friends that I asked. So I think that's a big tactic from the women. I think guys are capable of it too, but I think women have used
I
it
understand
more.
if you need to cool down and you're like, okay, I need this X amount of time to just like regroup so we don't continue this fight, you know, get my thoughts together, calm down, take a walk, take a bath, take a day or whatever. And then we can get back together and talk about this again at a certain amount of time. That's fine. But just not responding, disappearing and driving off and all night just because you're mad or whatever, that's abusive.
Yeah, it is abusive. That's awful. Yeah, the people that apologize instead of ever changing their behavior. It's another one. Like a lot of apologies. Well, I'm really sorry. I said I was sorry.
Yeah.
That's a red flag.
You can put your sorries in a sack, mister.
I don't need an apology. I need you to show up on time.
Yeah. Okay.
You know? Yeah.
Is that
here's unsafe people demand trust. Like they demand trust or respect instead of earning it. So I would say this is probably applies to like the red pill space, like the manosphere. I'm a man, so you must respect me. No, if you're in my life, it will take time and you can show me that you're someone worthy of respect and that you're safe to respect and trust.
I'm glad you brought this up because not everybody deserves respect.
No, they absolutely not.
And when you try and talk about this stuff, like guys in particular will come after you and say you're being too hard. It's not all men. But it's like, okay, are there bad men out there? Yes or no?
Yes. There's very bad men
so
out
as
there.
a man, can you even you have to admit that yes, they do exist. So we need barriers to protect us from bad men. You can't just say women don't take responsibility and you need to trust us and respect us and like submit and all this stuff. And that was another red flag I wrote down. Anybody who refers to themselves as alpha male.
Yes.
It's just weird, you guys. Like all of these dating coaches, have you seen the rise of like game theory and dating coaches and all this stuff?
Yes, I have.
It's getting super weird because they talk about people like used cars.
Yes.
They talk about people like used cars and they are on the car lot surveying the entire thing, and love is just this salesman that they have to get one over on so they don't get ripped off.
Mhm.
Right. And so they end up treating people, men and women, like objects that you're just trying to get the best deal on and get as much as you can without the least amount of effort.
Mhm.
And these alpha males are getting so crazy. Like, anybody who talks about people in values, high value,
Mhm.
low
High,
value,
yes.
you
Anyone that says I'm a high value man, or even just talks about high value men or high value women is somebody to be.
it is weird. And
We are
you're
we
getting,
all have value as children of God. So
you're infected with
yeah.
these weird dating coach alpha male podcast weirdos, right? I'm sick of it. Like, how they, I don't even like it when they say females,
I agree.
because a lot of this stuff is like putting people in a category of just animals, which is a Darwinian
Mhm.
idea that we're just apex predators, right?
Mhm.
And this dovetails into Satanism. So to talk about I'm an alpha male animal and you're a female, and a female what?
Mm.
Or a male what? Not a man or a woman. You're talking about a female animal, right?
Good point.
I don't know.
Yeah, it does sound like that.
It just gets so weird.
It is getting very weird, and I think that's why we need. I just love that we're doing this podcast because it's kind of dangerous. Dating is dangerous. You don't know what their motive is for dating you. You don't know who this person is. It's just we need to be very careful, especially with this kind of that. I feel like that what you're talking about, this whole like alpha male or as a man, when they're saying it with this kind of spirit, it's like a virus
Hmm.
and it's spreading through the internet, and
Hmm.
people are picking up on it as a reaction to feminism, and rightly so. Feminism is super destructive, but it's dubbed like it's bouncing back into male chauvinism,
Hmm.
like that's like the other extreme, and and then we're out there trying to date these people, but they're angry and coming at us with all this stuff that they've been hearing online. It's very dangerous. So I think it's really important for us to really stay vigilant about the questions we ask and kind of not emotionally invest, or definitely don't physically invest, or any like just don't invest until you've made sure that the person that you're with has passed a few smell tests and at least gets a yellow.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, maybe we talk about some green flags in a little bit, but um okay. So alpha male, high value weirdos, men's rights,
Yep.
manosphere, red pill,
Yes.
game, pickup artist. I mean, alpha male, just like that person has more red flags than China, dude. Like, if you were, you wouldn't have to advertise it. It would
No.
just be self-evident, right?
Yeah, the men that are not in that red pill space, the men that are like real men that are confident and kind, like some of the guys at my church, like they're nowhere near the red pill space. They're like real men. They're just confident and kind and open doors.
And they have
And
families, and
yeah, I
yeah.
mean, they're just genuine good men. They're
And
nowhere, they're not saying as an alpha man, or I, no. So yeah, that's a red flag.
it's so interesting what they take away, because I've heard that the whole alpha male thing in nature is kind of skewed and off of some faulty research, because like let's say a wolf pack, for example, and they are migrating from one place to another. The alpha male, which is usually the oldest of the family, like the oldest male with his offspring, that's the
Mhm.
alpha,
Mhm.
right? He stays at the back of the pack to make sure,
Mm.
so that he can see everything. He
Yes.
brings up the rear, and younger
Oh,
males go lead, and the alpha stays at the back so that he can have a survey of everything. But so it's not like the alpha male is in front. In
right.
wolves anyways, I don't know about other animals, but this I'm
That
thinking.
reminds me of a sermon that we had that I loved last week. Can I draw something for you?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so this is like how the world works. Like you have the top guys. Also, if you think about Satanism, right? The
Mhm.
top guy is up here and he's demanding all of his minions to be under him.
Mhm.
Right. So he is at the top. I'm in charge of everything, and you guys all work for me, and you guys are plebs at the bottom, and you're worth nothing.
Mhm.
But with the church, it's flipped, and Jesus Christ is at the bottom holding up the entire structure. So the apostles are after him, holding everybody else up,
Mhm.
right? And then we're being held up by all these wonderful men, as of course Jesus Christ at the bottom. But that's how it should look, rather than at the top where you demand respect
Mhm.
versus you are holding everybody else up. Like that's what we should be looking for.
You just reminded me of the parable of the rich man and Lazarus. And this is one of those paradoxical teachings that the last shall be first and the first is last,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
So it's one of those weird mind trips that you have to wrap your head around in Christianity, that the beggars in heaven are going to be above the rich people who may even be going to hell because for whatever reason, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because in that story, it's flipped, because usually you would say like the name of the rich man because he's more well known, and the beggar has no name. But in this story, the beggar has the name and the rich man is just called rich man, right?
Ooh.
So
Uh-huh.
even in that, the storytelling of it, they have inverted the importance of the two people.
Wow.
So
That's great. That's
yeah,
great.
humility and meekness, it doesn't have to be weakness.
No, meek does not mean weak.
Right.
Yeah. Cool.
It's like that what is the, oh man, I can't remember. It's like that this Eastern thing about you, it's like speak softly but carry a big stick or something like that. Like if you have power and authority, you don't have to have all that machismo because that's just posturing,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the exact name of like the parable of that, but
Yeah,
okay.
but that's a great point. If you have it, you don't need to flaunt it.
Mm-hmm. You either have the sauce or you don't.
That's right. Um, yeah, and people know who the real men are if you're out there yelling about it.
Is the,
Um,
yeah, okay. We will end this. We'll come back to alpha males and we'll end it because
okay.
I brought a little visual aid.
Oh, good. Okay. Okay, here's a good one. If he's shying away from talking to your spiritual father and or your biological father. Because marriage is not just between two people. It needs the approval and support of your parish, your friends, your biological family. Um, yeah.
Yeah. If he's not interested in impressing the men in your life that are already established, that's a red flag.
Red flag. Yeah. You know what? Someone's like that. Why would we do that? We're adults. I don't need the permission of, yeah, that's a big red flag. No.
Okay. I think you said almost everything that I wrote down. In the men column, I put good looking. Is a red flag. Just because
I
I'm like,
agree.
he's good looking and successful and funny. Heck no, man. Like, no. But yeah, good looking men can use that, you know, and if he doesn't have any morals, then he's going to have a high body count, which is unattractive to men and women both. And
Yes.
we all know these high body counts, like it's 2023. We've figured out that promiscuous people are just insecure people with like bad coping strategies. Right. So you can be an alcoholic, you can be a pillhead, you can be a gambler, or you can be a person chaser,
Mm-hmm.
right? You can be a
Mm-hmm.
coomer. All of these things, same category. It's not like you're a super sexy like Don Juan Casanova who just has to, God's gift or whatever. Like you are a broken person,
Right.
and any idiot can find another broken person to share the night with them.
Mm-hmm.
It's not special.
No, good point. Yeah, it's definitely something to look at if they haven't turned their life around. Like, yeah, good point. This was kind of a fun one, so I'm just gonna throw this in. Someone said, if you go to a restaurant and he orders the same thing, no matter what the restaurant, it means one of two things. Either number one, he's taking you to different places just because he thinks you want to go to them, so he's trying to please you, or like you're picking the restaurants, he just goes and chooses the same thing, so he's just going to please you, or he's not interested in exploring new things. So in the marriage, he's not going to be interested in going on trips, or like he doesn't care, he's just kind of stagnant. That's a little bit of a red flag. I thought that was kind of fun.
Okay. I'll say that's like a yellow flag.
It's probably a yellow, yeah.
Yeah.
What else?
Okay, so I wrote down good looking, materialistic, cocky. We went over that. I can't stand smug and snob and cocky. It just makes me want to barf. Um when he says he's not looking for anything serious,
Oh,
right?
then what are you doing dating? Dating is
Right.
not for you. You need to go rock climbing or hiking. I don't know. Pick
Yeah.
up a hobby.
And to add to that, like, we talked about this, doesn't ever want to get married.
Mhm.
Too many idols and the boys. Now, I don't have problems with men's activities, doing men's things like men's prayer group, men's rock climbing, men's this or whatever. But if you're like weekly, I'm going out with the boys and we're gonna paint the town red, that's a red flag,
It is a red flag.
right? And you're not invited,
Yeah. Yeah, you don't
right?
want to do
And
that.
for girls, like if you're having too many girls' nights, I'm not saying you can't
Mhm.
have fun with your friends without your partner. But if you're continuously acting like you're single and going out with your single friends and doing single friend things,
I think
that's a
also if alcohol is involved in these single, like these
yeah.
nights out with your friends, that's probably a red flag. Like if you're just having like a prayer group or like a women's group from church, like that
Yeah.
doesn't, there's a difference. Like, are you doing adult women things, men things, or are you going out and like partying it up?
I think it's really cruel for a woman to go get all dolled up for girls' night and leave her partner at home on the couch
Yeah.
when they're out drinking and partying like single people. I For either or, I'm just like, you don't deserve to be in a relationship.
No, that's not what relationships look like. That's not what's happening.
Yeah.
How
I'm
about, have
saying
you heard of the term?
acceptably. Okay, guys. I always have to put like contingents on everything I say because you're going to come at me. You can do things like that once in a while, but a regular, like scheduled outing twice a week, once a week, girls' night, boys' night is not healthy.
Mhm. I think it just kind of comes with getting older too. At a certain point, it's not fun anymore to act like that.
Hmm.
If
Yeah.
you're going out taking tequila shots at a Mexican restaurant, like, are you 20 or are you like,
Your idea
when does
of,
that stop? Like, when can you like just call it a day
yeah, your idea of
and
fun.
start reading instead of doing? Yeah, what is your idea of how to spend a night out? Like, at some point, you're just not going to want to do that anymore. Your
Mhm.
priorities change. Okay, have you heard of the term breadcrumbing?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a red flag.
Yeah.
So for those that don't know, breadcrumbing, I looked up the definition. It's just not being super interested in someone, but continuing to lead them on,
Hmm.
right? So
Hmm.
it could look like an ex who keeps checking in with you, but never goes so far as to meet up, or somebody who just like texts you every once in a while. That's a red flag.
That's a huge red flag, especially if you've been dumped and you're sitting there in your pain and then you get a text every couple days from this person.
Mhm.
Are you okay?
Oh,
I miss you. And then that's it. Right. And then another couple days goes by thinking about you. And then a week goes by. What are you doing? That's a breadcrumb, right?
Yeah.
That is a huge red flag. That person is manipulating you to the highest degree, and you have to nip that in the bud right away. Like, if they have dumped you, if they have said, like, we're broken up and I do not want to have this relationship anymore, the person that gets broken up with needs to, like, seriously just put some kind of like armor around
Hmm.
their heart, like chink 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 chink. Okay, you've made your decision, right? And not answer calls, not answer texts, not meet up as friends for coffee and catch up after this other person has been out chasing whoever they want to be with. And they're keeping you breadcrumb with little texts. It's
I
so.
would say additionally to the armor, you need to get your support system in line really fast.
Mhm.
You need to call your friends, you need to call your parents, you need to call your church friends, you need to call your personal trainer, you need to tell everybody what's going on and make it super public so you can be helped if that's going in. Because sometimes you get blind and you think maybe they like it's very manipulative. And if you're in a state that's not stable, it's nice to have other people to lean on.
And a girl will do this too. She'll break up with a guy and then she'll breadcrumb like, "Oh, can you give me a ride? Or
Ooh.
can I have $100? Or I need help with this one thing, and we're friends now and I trust you, but can you come over and move my furniture?" Or whatever, like asking for things after you've dumped him. Don't just say no, guy.
Just say no, get out of
Yeah.
there.
Yep.
Um,
How about excessive competitiveness? I put this down. That could be
oh, that's a good one.
because those kind of people are no fun to be around.
No, they compete with you for like
Yeah.
little things.
They will
Make
com-
ev Yeah,
they will make everything a
they're
competition.
probably a bad loser at board games.
Mhm. Don't ever beat that person if you want them to continue playing with you.
Yeah.
I put conniving too. So this is more of like maybe a female red flag.
Hmm.
If you notice her being, sus and sneaky and shady and two-faced and telling someone something on the phone and they hang up and they say, not really, or
Uh-huh.
like, I've seen people do this,
Hmm.
just lie to that person in front of me, and I'm like, how am I supposed to trust you now because I've just witnessed like all of your conniving ways? Like, I don't
That's definitely a female thing.
know.
Yeah.
How about for women, no skills?
If the guy has no skills or the girl has no skills.
I put this in women category, but like it could be men too, obviously. Like a man with no skills is, you know,
I would agree with
not
that.
very
And
high
actually,
value.
that's something my friend texted me. One of his red flags for women. Actually, two of my friends said that about women and skills. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Okay.
He said, where is it? Something about changing a tire. Hold on. Oh, yeah. Willfully ignorant, weaponized incompetence. Just
Okay.
flat out refuses to learn things or to listen to people. A lot of girls I've known refuse to learn how to change a tire, for example, or other life skills, or they refuse to learn basic things about history. I
Okay.
think that's pretty, I mean, he's probably spot on.
Yeah.
Weaponized incompetence. Oh
Yes.
no, you have to help me. I don't know how to do this. Come over. Yeah.
That's so funny because I feel like that's different for the different genders. Like part of being coquettish and attractive to a man is needing help
Hmm.
because they want to be the hero that helps you. So you kind of have to learn how to, ask for it.
Drop the handkerchief.
Exactly. Um, but guys will like be like, well, I can't do laundry because you do it better, or I'll just mess it up, or I don't know how to sweep, or I like, so I feel like it's a little bit different. But when you ask a guy for help and he rolls his eyes or he goes, oh, can't, like, you can do it, you can lift it, you, that is a huge red flag. him trying to make you more independent is a red flag because he doesn't
Mm,
care about you. If he
mhm.
did, he'd be like, of course, anything, I'll do it. Like, you need me to reach this off the shelf for you? Of course I can. He wants to impress you. If your man doesn't want to impress you, you have a problem because guys want to impress everybody. And if it's not you, it's another girl he's trying to impress.
Mm, good point.
Right.
Hmm.
So, yeah. But yeah, no skills. Women need to learn how to make things.
Hmm.
You need to learn how to make whatever it is that you require. You need to make food, make
Hmm.
crafts, make a home, make clothes, make a garden. You just got to be making things all the time. I think that's a super feminine trait. And that's how you can express your creativity also. Like I'll make anything. Like I want to make it at home. If I knew how to sew, I would make my own clothes. But as it is, I like make a lot of my own, skin products and hair products and like laundry soap. And I'm a very like do it yourself kind of person.
Hmm.
Right.
Yeah, I love that.
It's so funny. A complaint I hear is from the like alpha male guys is that women have no hobbies
Hmm.
now. And I'm like, that sounds ridiculous to
I've
me.
heard that. And I think actually, to be fair to them, I've heard that from two of the guys that women as a manipulation tactic will pretend to be interested in the guy's hobbies to get them
Mm-hmm.
to like her, like, oh, I love hiking.
Yeah. Oh,
Or
yeah.
oh, I love that, just to try to get in with them. And then when the guy figures out that they don't actually like that, they consider it like a lie, which it was a lie. So that's like really off-putting.
Mm,
So I think
yeah.
that could be a big red flag for women. And fair enough. I totally I can see how that happens. I'm sure it does happen all the time.
Well,
But
excuse me, but a part of getting men, getting men, if you like somebody and you're attracted to them, the fastest way to get them to like you back is ask them to teach you something
that's true.
because men love to teach,
Yes, they do.
right? And they love to impart their knowledge, especially to a pretty girl that they like. That's the easiest way to get him to like you. So,
That's true. That's so true. That's I guess that's why girls do it, is because it's the same as um dropping the handkerchief. I don't know how
right.
to do this.
But
Teach me how to do this.
there's a difference between being a pick me cool girl and trying to learn a skill from a guy that you like. And that's kind of what I was trying to talk about in the beginning. Like, you don't really like motorcycles. You know, why are you riding a Harley with him? You don't.
Yeah.
Okay. You're not having fun.
No.
At the baseball game lasts like 8 hours and it's cold
Football
outside.
game.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, I do know what you mean.
But so this thing about women having no hobbies just sounds ridiculous to me because, every time we go somewhere, I'm like, will you take me to Hobby Lobby? It's not the men who like keep Hobby Lobby in business, and he
Yeah.
stays in the car and I go to get my craft stuff. So it's just kind of maybe the type of women that they encounter in the places that they frequent are like this. But a lot of the complaints coming out of these like
Well,
alpha
that
is sounds ridiculous to me because I
I
don't
think
even know
they
anybody.
might be dating ridiculous women. Like I think these alpha guys that are in that space, like they're going to like legit clubs,
Yeah.
like clubs with like bottles popping, like stuff you see in rap videos. Like this isn't normal. So then they're looking at those girls, like, and
Yes.
then they're, like,
They're extrapolating like their ideas about womankind from hanging out at clubs. You're so right. Because I've
that's
never
what they're
been like
seeing.
a club
Yeah.
person.
Sorry.
I've never been a club person, so I
No.
don't know all of these like hoes they're talking about. All the women I know are amazing and wonderful. So it's like, anyways.
Yeah, I think you have a great point. I mean, once you switch your circles, it's just like being taken from a fish pond into, you know, the jungle. Like you're in a different environment. All the creatures around you are different. You're not in that world. That's not what you see anymore. You're seeing something completely different. So I think once you change your own environment, but they don't, and then they're online and we can hear them. So it's like,
Mhm.
what are you seeing?
Mhm.
What girls are you talking about? Because
Yeah.
that's not what we're around.
Yeah. And then
That's
when
not what
they,
we're seeing.
it's so funny when they do get a panel of women to
Hmm.
come and refute them or whatever, it's always like the nastiest ratchet girls. Like, but no
Yes,
wonder you think that women are low class because look at the ones that you have invited to,
that's what they're
come
looking
have
for.
discourse with you. It's like,
Yes,
okay.
absolutely. Yes. These are women that are looking to fight, that have low education, that are not looking to improve themselves. So if you want to be mad at women, those are the perfect ones to be mad at.
Yeah, it's kind
So
of like low hanging fruit almost.
yeah.
Okay. So I think we've covered everything that I wrote down.
Hmm.
Um, Driving, yes, we talked about that.
Hmm.
Responsibility, father, either. If things are fault. Yeah, these are all the ones
Absolutely.
I could think of off the top of my head. I'm sure there's plenty more, and you guys out there can add your own in the comments or tell me how much you hate me. Um, but
Oh, I think if he is Orthodox or if he's a convert, watch how much he skips church.
okay,
I
yeah.
think that's one too. Like, where are you really following God or are you just talking like it? Because it's really cool to talk like you're a trad guy. That's super cool. Everybody thinks you're awesome. But
Yes.
like, what's your real church life look like? Are you really involved at church? Like on Sundays, are you too tired? Did you skip it because you were too tired? Like that's stuff to watch for. Because
Mhm.
that's the way they're going to be when they get married. Like they're just they're basically doing their own version of virtue signaling. So watch
Uh,
that.
Bare minimum people.
Mm,
Because how you do one thing is how you do everything, and people who do the bare minimum are going to do it to you too,
yes,
right?
absolutely. Bare minimum people. Um, somebody who curses too much.
Hmm. I
It's
feel like
always a
profanity shows a lack of like vocabulary and imagination. You can insult somebody just as well using, you know, creative, interesting words.
that's a good point. Yeah, you can be a lot more creative.
Yeah.
Um, oh, how about a guy that or a girl puts themselves down a lot, so they're fishing for compliments. Oh, but you already touched on this, like, oh, I'm just not that great. You wouldn't want to date me. Yeah. I think that's pretty much all. If he doesn't read,
Oh
somebody
yeah.
who doesn't have any books.
Uh, Nothing will turn me off faster than a dum dum guy. I mean, it doesn't matter. He can be the cutest guy with all the money, and the first time he says something stupid, I'm like, can't.
It is a sad time when you're like talking to somebody and everything seems good, and then there's just some comment that's like, oh no.
You hear the
Oh.
brakes in your head. Oh man,
Oh
it's
man.
so dumb. Okay. Well, uh, so there's this thing going around that high value men always cheat. Have you heard this? And they use people like, Donald Trump or Bill Clinton or whoever is in the spotlight that is known for their infidelities. And they are trying to convince the world that successful men will always cheat, right?
Hmm.
This is so crazy. So I made this little chart, and I think anybody who's been cheated on will appreciate this because there is no excuse for adultery and cheating. And I don't care what you say. So let me play this little TikTok first, real fast. And I don't want to like get in a fight with anybody. I don't want to disparage anybody, but this person just really rustles my jimmies. So I'm going to play this.
States that drove him to do that.
Okay. And it's about cheating. And
I'm sorry,
her premise is that um the women have to share blame when they get cheated on,
Oh,
right? So let's play this real fast.
okay.
sometimes you contributed to it. Sometimes you did things that drove him to do that. And women take no accountability for that. They take no accountability for the fact they won't sleep with their husbands. They take no accountability for the fact they put on a bunch of weight. And I'm not talking a little bit of baby weight. I'm talking 40, 50 pounds. There's no excuse for that. They don't take accountability for the fact that they don't appreciate their husbands, that they make it a living hell when he comes home, and that he wants to go to the bar with his buddies because you make that shit a hellhole because you are so unpleasant to be around. And that man forgives you for all of that shit, but you can't forgive him for stepping out once, twice. You guys are crazy. I'm sorry, sometimes.
Some of these things, I just feel like it's so dumb. It has to be performance art or like a grift or something. You can't be that stupid. But apparently you can. So I'm going to help you guys out because what I like to do is remove the illusions of complexity about things and give you some rock bottom, solid, like perspective. Okay. So I've got 3 people, non-gender. See, they're all just people. It's not a woman or a man because they can be, either one can be guilty, right? So you've got the cheater, Sam, even their names are non-binary. Okay. Okay. Cheater. And you've got the cheatee, Alex. And you've got this affair partner, Pat, right? And what this person does, this person has no effect on this. I mean, very little. If they want to cheat, they're going to cheat. And this whole thing about you can't keep a man, you cannot keep a man that does not want to be kept.
Mhm.
If he want to be kept, he won't cheat. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So this person has to decide between himself and God that they are not going to be a person that lies and deceives and cheats.
That's right.
Okay. It has nothing to do with what this person does, has nothing to do with what this person does.
That's right.
Even if they seduce them, even if this person abuses them, deprives them, neglects, nothing that these 2 people do has any like bearing on whether or not this person is going to cheat.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Right.
So this person can be an amazing partner, or they can be an average partner. They can be a shitty partner. This person's going to cheat no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because
Mm-hmm.
that's what they're going to do. Now, this person is a freaking idiot. Okay. To
Yes,
get
they are.
even dumber than this guy, girl,
Yes.
person, Pat is an envious retard.
Pat is super self-destructive.
Pat does not know what is like. Why would you ever steal someone's partner? Now you have a unloyal person, right?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, Alex should thank Pat for
Mm-hmm.
taking this human garbage off of your hands.
Mm-hmm.
And Alex needs to send Pat some flowers for taking the trash out for them. Right?
Thanks, Pat.
If this person is neglectful and withholding intimacy, whatever, this person has options other than lying and cheating.
Mm-hmm.
You can break up,
Mm-hmm.
go to therapy.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to ask them
Mm-hmm.
why you don't want to be intimate with me. You can talk to your priest. You can talk to their family. You can get to the bottom of what is the problem without stepping out with this idiot over here.
Right.
Right. if
Also,
this
those idiots, like they're always out there just floating around. It's not like one just happened to come in and he was so helpless, like, oh, I didn't even know what was coming.
No.
Like they're always there.
this person is not better than this person in
No.
any way, shape, or form. Even if this person sucks,
Right.
this person is also garbage. And
Yes.
you don't have to be a garbage person.
You don't.
I was a garbage person once. I'm working on it. I never had adulteries, but you know, like we all have our things that you have to repent and do it a different way. So just the mere fact that this person is considering cheating as a way to get their needs met tells me everything I need to know about how they're showing up in the relationship with this person,
Yes.
right?
Right.
So it's not about what this person is doing, because their mind, their heart, their intentions is garbage.
Mm-hmm.
And this person is hiding in the bathroom, texting this person, while this person is probably like reading books about attachment style and
Yes.
stupid shit, like trying to
Figure out what the divide is.
this
Yes.
person's trying their super hardest to make this person happy. So
Uh-huh.
the cheater is going to go to this idiot and be like, oh, we're having problems. Like, he doesn't treat me right, or she
Mhm.
won't sleep with me. And they're going to try and ingratiate this person by making this person look bad.
Mm-hmm.
When this person is working their ass off trying to get this person's affection back,
Mm-hmm.
and this person's sitting in the toilet like a little piece of shit. And the irony is not lost on anybody, I hope, because they're locked in the bathroom looking at porn and texting this dumbass right here, while this person is
Going to therapy, trying to figure it out.
they're trying to go to therapy. They are descending into madness because
Uh-huh.
they know that this person does not give a shit about them.
Right.
And this person doesn't give a shit about either of these people.
Mm-hmm.
The only person this person cares about is their big fat self. Okay. If you've ever been cheated on and you're like, why am I not good enough? It has nothing to do with your performance at all as a partner.
No.
I mean, to the very extreme. Like, even if this person says, I will never sleep with you again, then divorce. That's totally allowed. Even in the Orthodox and I don't know about Catholic, but abandonment, and especially sexual abandonment, you will be granted a divorce and you can get married again, right?
Mm-hmm.
Unless you had an affair with this idiot over here, and then you're not allowed to marry them, is what I've heard.
Yeah.
Have you heard that?
Yeah. I love the Orthodox Church.
Yeah.
And your second marriage isn't going to be like exciting either. The second try is not as exciting as the first.
So if this person is not happy in the relationship, this person is definitely not happy
No.
in the relationship. But they are giving it the old college try. You know, they're trying for the kids. They're trying to keep the family together.
Yes.
They're probably working overtime. They're doing all these things. And this person is not gonna appreciate all the effort that this person is putting in, because they have a hole in their heart. They're like a bucket with holes in it. And the more this person pours into this person, it's just going to flow out, right? And this person has a whole bunch of I mean, this is the red flag right here.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Anybody who would be a partner in crime and cheating to betray this person
Mm-hmm.
is garbage.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what else to say, but like,
well said, Jamie. That was so well said. And I mean, that's not even far, like that's something that happens all the time.
Yeah.
I've talked to people where this has happened. I've had this in my circles personally. I mean, this is a real thing that you're talking about. And sometimes there isn't just one pat. There's like 3 or 4 pats.
Oh yeah. Because this person will never be happy with one person because they're not even happy with themselves.
Right. Because
Right?
it's not about Alex. It's
No.
always about Sam.
Exactly.
Alex didn't do anything. Sam, it's between Sam and God.
Yeah.
Like you said, like that, you won't be a cheater if you decided with you and God when you get married that you're not going to do that. That's between you and God.
And you'll have these safeguards and boundaries and
Mhm.
like I have rules that I don't hang out with Pat by ourselves. You know, we don't
Right.
DM each other. We don't talk unless this person is in the vicinity,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I want to have a strong commitment with this person, so we got to keep the boundaries. But all
Right.
y'all are running around like, oh, men and women can be friends and we can have work wives and work husbands and best friends who are guys and blah blah blah. It's like, dude, guys and girls can be friends, yeah, to a certain extent, but like if you're doing all this stuff that dating people do and married
Right.
people do, that's not healthy because one of those friends wants it to be more than friends. I guarantee you that.
It may not be physical, it could even be emotional. Like, I agree with you. I think friendship is okay, kind of, but when it crosses into more intimate emotionally or physically, like that's where you got that's not okay.
Mm-hmm. And the friends are these dum-dums, Pat, who are just waiting for a break in the fortress to crawl their little cockroach ass in there. I'm serious. Like even girls will go befriend if this was a girl's and this is a guy and she wants him, she will be this person's best friend,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Get close, babysit, be around, bring them food. And as soon as these people have a disagreement, then this person's going to be like, you can confide in me. I understand where you're coming from. They don't appreciate you like I do. So it's like this person's got serious mental problems. If you're a mistress, if you're a homewrecker, if you're a like a person who says, "Well, I don't owe her anything. I don't." Have you heard that? Like the other
Yes.
woman's excuses
Yes.
are so weak, right?
That's terrible.
And it's like you need to work on yourself and your envy.
Mm-hmm.
And like it's so dangerous. This person could show up and shoot this person in the face because of this dum dum.
Yes.
Right? Remember that?
Yeah.
What was that? Buttafuoco? He was having an affair with this girl. Remember in the 90s? His name was Joey Buttafuoco. And he had a mistress named Amy something. And Amy goes to the wife's house and shoots the wife in the face. So when you are bringing other people into this drama, you are putting this person at risk and
Mhm.
yourself, because if the person can, shoot this person, then they can be crazy to you too
Mm-hmm.
and do you damage. So I don't know if this helps anybody who's ever been cheated on and like is wondering, why am I not good enough? It's not about you.
And by the way, if those two are, let's say they do leave the first person, right? They
Uh-huh.
get together, cheater and idiot get together.
Yeah.
The idiot is probably going to cheat on the cheater later
Yes.
because they have established their relationship in Cheatville.
Yes. Because
So
how you got them is how you're going to lose them.
they're a cheater when you met them. Like they're telling you they're a cheater. That you're not special. Like they are a cheater. So even if you guys get together later, they're going to cheat on you
Yes. And
later.
what kind of prize have you gotten when you've broken these people up? And now you can't trust anything this person has to say. So it's like, come on, guys. I don't know.
So all this is gone. We're not doing that.
No, we're
We're
not
not
doing that.
cheating.
Nope. And we're
We're
not
not holding ourselves responsible when someone else does cheat. That's
no.
between that's their thing.
And what was her criteria in that TikTok? The person gained weight.
Yeah.
So
Or she's not sleeping with him enough.
what if let's say a man and a woman, what if he lost all his hair? can she cheat? Because when they got married, he had hair. He was a handsome young man with full head hair. I mean, you can't expect her to be faithful if he's bald now. Can you?
Yeah, it's ludicrous. Their reasoning is ludicrous. Yeah.
I mean, what was the other thing? Oh, she won't put. So that's another thing you have to work out. Like, she wanted to in the beginning. So what did you stop doing to turn her off and make her not want to sleep with you anymore?
Mm-hmm.
Probably all your cheating ways.
Probably all the cheating. Probably the talking with the idiot in the bathroom. That's a turnoff.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So this person is gonna go to this person and be like, "Oh, we have so many problems." Maybe
Or
because
if they did cheat and then he got caught, because she said it was okay. Like, why are you getting mad if he steps out? Is what she said. Well, if someone stepped out on me, I would not want to be with them anymore. That would cause major problems for our intimacy.
Yeah.
Like that would be a major problem.
Exactly.
So,
It's
and
like,
that's normal.
so
Trust's been broken. We had a marriage.
we have all these, it's not working out. We have all these problems. It's like, yeah, you are the problem by trying to mac on other people. That's the freaking problem.
That's the problem.
I'm tired of idiots, man.
I hear you.
Not you.
I hear you.
Just boils my blood to hear, like, the gaslighting is level 9,000.
It is.
Right?
And it's getting, I think it's just getting louder and louder because they're getting angrier and angrier about the feminism stuff. And I get how crazy feminism is. I get how destructive it is, but it's not the solution to bring your own crazy on the other side. You're just creating more crazy.
No. And this person, like, it's just a average person. And these two people need to be put in rice or something. I don't know how you can help. Therapy, Orthodox Church. Oh, the only way this person is going to stop is when they hit rock bottom and they lose this person for permanently. And they just lose everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're never going to stop if this person keeps on enabling them and staying with them and forgiving them. And I know we're all about forgiveness, but there are limits to abuse and adultery, right? And there are healed marriages and there are marriages that are better broken up, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard about a marriage that broke up for about 10 years and they both went through massive repentance and they got back together and they're happily married again.
Oh, that's sweet.
But they had to do that 10 years and get their stuff together separately and do major work, So it's possible for sure, but it doesn't mean you just grit your teeth. And I mean, that's miserable.
And the alpha males will be like, it's just biology. We have to spread our seed. And all of this presupposition of lies. Evolution is not true.
Right.
All of their thoughts about biology and how, like, animals work and how spreading your seed and how mating and all, it's all based on lies, right?
Yeah. They're super deceived.
And if
they're all upset about secular women, like modern women. They're modern men. Do they not see this? We're the modern men. That's where they are. That's where we're having some problems here,
Yeah.
So
I'm getting tongue-tied just because I get, like, mad at this TikTok person and their popularity and everybody agreeing with this bullshit. Because
I think it's nice to be in the Orthodox Church because at least there you get some sanity.
Good point.
I mean, but if I were not in the Orthodox Church, that's the kind of stuff that I would be having to deal with.
Because would it make sense for a woman to say something along the lines of, well, I met someone who's clearly an alpha male, so I had to give myself to him. It's just biology, right? I mean, I love you and I want a life with you, but he is clearly, like, 6-pack, 6 figures, 6 feet tall. So my biology is saying make a baby with him. Why can't I do that? Is that wrong? But all alpha men cheat because they're so successful. I don't know. I'm done.
And we should submit to men, all of them.
All of them all the time.
all the time.
I'm not being a misandrist, you guys. I'm trying to help you avoid pain and suffering.
Yeah, and I
love
think
people. I
it's
love
very
men and I
important.
love women, and I want everyone to get along all the time, everywhere, but that's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's very, very important to know about this stuff too. I think people are like, well, why are you focusing on all these negative things? It's not necessarily that we're focusing, it's awareness. And I think if you're single, you have to be aware of the dating pool that you're going into, and you have to be adult about understanding the dangers in it. These guys do exist, they do have these worldviews, they do believe things like evolution, right? So these are the guys that you're going to meet. So you have to take yourself out a little bit, like really guard yourself and ask yourself, who is this guy in front of me? What are his motives? Ask questions right away and then get out of there. Don't invest anything at all unless you go step by step slowly. You meet in a public place. I mean, all these things. So I think
Yeah.
yeah. And don't date until you're ready to get married, and make sure who you're talking to is in that same boat, not an alpha male that wants to spread his seed, because they're out there, ladies, and that's what they want to do, and they're vocal about it. So if you're somebody who's serious and wants a husband and wants a life and wants to live as a struggling Christian, I mean, you've got to be very, very careful and ask these questions right away and get rid of this naive, oh, well, if I'm really sweet, I'll find the right one. Like, yes, we have to pray. That's number one. I think there was a Russian proverb that was like, how did it go? If you're going to travel, pray once. If you're going to war, pray twice. If you're going to get married, pray 3 times. So getting married is scarier than traveling and going to war. That's how important it is. So we need to have prayer super involved when you start looking for a husband, and just be aware that this is really going on, and to protect yourself, and not to be a yes girl all the time, not to be submissive because you want to be liked, but be submissive to the right man once he proves himself trustworthy.
Yes, to a righteous person who's earned your trust and respect. Very well said. And I hope I was fair to the genders tonight. I was trying to make it equal. I'm not saying that one is better than the other.
I think it's nice to have I agree with you. I don't think we're saying one is better than the other for sure. It's just easier on our side just because we are women. So we have that perspective. And there's so many men talking about it. It's really nice. I felt really excited to talk to you because it's just nice to have the woman's perspective. I really like men. I mean, I've gotten the experience to see some really good men around me recently. And it's just really opened my eyes and given me so much hope. But I think it's important to have this kind of talk, because if there are girls that are out there that are single that are seeing this kind of stuff, it could be really disheartening. So to just know that there's others of us out there that can see it and we're aware of it and we have strategies to stay safe and to do the right thing.
Yeah, because we want to find love. We're not trying to grift people.
Right. We want healthy relationships and staying together and getting old together and being kind to one another and supporting the community. That's what we're about.
Yeah. And I'm a girl's girl. I'm not a cool girl, pick me. I don't care what guys think of me. I'm too old for that, and I'm already past marriage, any of that. I don't care what any man thinks of me. But I do care about women. I don't know what to say. Someone left a comment like, you have a female bias, and I'm like, okay, what else would I have? Like, I can't be a gender neutral blob Pat Sam Alex. Like, I'm going to have a perspective of a woman. So I don't know, deal with it.
I like it.
I don't know, I'm getting sassy now, so I better go. But thank you. Is there anything else you wanted to add?
I don't think so. I think that was great. I mean, I think that was just super important, and it was good to cover it all.
Okay. Well, I had fun, and dating and relationships is one of my favorite things to talk about. I'm always learning new things, and we will definitely have Melissa back for another conversation very soon.
Yay. Thank you, Jamie.